Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Too Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. 2 easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm really excited today. I've got actor Seth Gilliam with me. So welcome, Seth.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, I'm pretty excited about talking with you because I've followed your career pretty much from the beginning. You and I are of a same age. You know, I was born in the late 60s, and so I felt like we kind of grew up together. You know, you were Clayton on Oz. That's the earliest I remember seeing you, but that was fairly early in your career.
That was pretty early. I was still doing a lot of theater in New York at that time. I think Oz was my second TV job. The first, I was on the Cosby Show for a few episodes.
Oh, you know what? I did know that, and of course, you know, we're dealing with all that now. But Cosby Show was must-watch TV back in the day.
Back then, it was the #1 show on TV. It was a huge household hit, and Bill Cosby was beloved. And no one had any idea.
No, nobody had any idea. And it's I was talking with my dad and my brother. We went to the US Open this weekend, so we were kind of having that conversation about, you know, kind of the death of the sitcom. You know, back in the day, that was the thing, especially NBC on Thursday nights. You know, you got loaded up. But we don't have a lot of shows that really fit into that blockbuster sitcom category.
No, not really. It used to be the entire lineup of a night. You know, you'd go from 8 till 11, sitcom after sitcom after sitcom.
And they were all good.
And they were all good. They're all classics, and on all the different networks too.
Yeah.
You know, now what do you get? Maybe one every other network. You got a sitcom that's in its 12th year. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know, back then it was 22, 24 or more episodes a year. And you don't get that anymore. Which, I mean, some of that's good, you know, because we had a lot of filler, so we don't really need all that. But I'm not a huge fan of the 6 and 8 episode seasons.
No, neither am I. I kind of like to stretch out and do a series over a while instead of, you know, when you feel like you can power watch it, then you don't really watch it when it's on at the time. You know what I mean?
I kind of miss the week to week viewing. You know, binge watching is great. But
it's got its own merits. Yeah,
they give us a whole week to kind of dissect each episode. You know, you could really get into it.
Yeah, I remember hanging by tooth and nail, waiting for the next $6 million man to come on. And
oh my gosh!
Fought the $7 million man who had the 2 bionic arms, and then they went to like a cliffhanger. I damn near pulled my head out.
And if you missed it, you had to wait till summer.
You were done. You had to
wait for the reruns.
Yeah, you were done.
I mean, kids today especially, they don't understand the anguish over missing an episode of your favorite show
and having to wait while everybody else knew what happened. You know,
brutal. Well, so Seth, I got us off track a little, but what got you into acting? Because obviously that's a difficult profession to go into, but you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for a while. I was very fortunate to have a lot of support when I was a kid. From my family. I mostly used to do like impersonations of all the characters from Godfather during like Thanksgiving and Christmas gatherings.
Were you any good?
I was fantastic.
Okay.
I was fantastic. I could, you know, De Niro was my favorite from The Godfather too. But I also did a good Marlon Brando if I put the orange peels low in my jaw and thought that I was itching somewhere. Slows down the speech. So
That's pretty
so I used to,
good.
yeah, thanks. I haven't done that in many years. Yeah, so I used to do that for the family, and then I had a couple of teachers in junior high school who told me about the high school performing arts. I
Yeah.
had a social studies teacher, and my who then introduced me to the drama teacher there at 152, where I went to at junior high school 52, where I went to junior high school, and they directed me towards the high school of performing arts and helped me with my audition and my preparation for that. And I got in, and I found my home.
Yeah. Yeah, you really did. My
Yeah.
my wife just passed 25 years at Live Nation. And I
Hmm.
told her, I was like, nobody does that anymore. But
Yeah.
you've done it. You're doing the same thing
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
little while.
Yeah. For a minute now.
I'll give you a quick De Niro story.
Okay.
This is my one connection to De Niro. So I've
Okay.
got a good friend, acting buddy of mine. His dad used to rep Robert De Niro.
Oh,
So
okay.
they lived in the neighborhood there in LA, close to the Penns. So he had Sean Penn living close to him. Sean was a little bit
Okay.
older than my friend. One
Yeah.
day, Sean Penn shows up at the door. He's knocking on the door, and he's never come by the door before. So my friend's kind of like, oh, what can I help you with?
Yeah.
And he's just kind of making small talking, and he just happened to throw in there, Robert De Niro's not in there, is he? And he's like, no, De Niro's not here. So he's like, okay, and he leaves. A few days later, he comes back on there. He's like, yeah, how's things going? And Robert De Niro's not in there, is he? And I guess that went on until he finally showed up when Robert was there and got to meet De Niro.
Wow.
That would have
Wow.
been probably before Sean had entered acting. I always thought
Yeah.
that amused me because he was a fan just like the rest of us before he went into acting.
Yes. 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 Of course. That's how it works. That's funny.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty decent. Loved you on The Wire, of course.
Oh, thank you.
You've been attached to a lot of shows that people would say in the conversation for best ever. The Wire is right in the middle of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It was a fantastically written show.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people were watching it at the time that we were shooting it, which I think took a little bit of the pressure off. So I think it helped David Simon and his team tell the story at the pace that they wanted to tell it, because there wasn't a lot of pressure to maintain some big hit status, with an unnecessary kill or something like that. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the brilliant parts of the show is the pacing of it, is the measured time of it, and all of the various characters it introduces over that long time of that very small.
I don't think it would have worked if you tried to condense it.
I don't think so either. I think you'd have jumped a lot of steps, and it wouldn't have had the impact, and you wouldn't have seen the humanity of the characters.
That's right.
That's one of the things. It kind of humanized the quote unquote bad guy drug dealer, and also humanized the quote unquote super cop.
That's right.
And made them a little easier to see as human beings. For a cop show, I think that was huge.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And it kind of like I watched The Wire because I was a Homicide fan. And
right. Yeah.
Homicide was a terrific show, but it was limited by the network, viewing where The Wire kind of took the success of Homicide and expanded on it because there wasn't anything holding it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had Trey has been on the show, and Chad Coleman. Chad Coleman came.
Yeah.
And they've both such a love for that program, and it just added to it that they got to be a part of it because it's such a kind of cultural icon piece.
Yeah. I felt that way when I got on Oz, because I used to watch Oz because Harold Perrineau, who's the narrator in the wheelchair, is a friend of mine. We had done some plays together.
Really?
Playwrights. Yeah, Young Playwrights Festival here in New York. There were some plays written by teenage kids given professional productions with professional actors and directors.
Oh, it's terrific.
You know, at the Young Playwrights Horizons here down in Times Square. And Harold and I had done a play called Hey Little Walter, and we did like a tour of it. So he's a good friend of mine. So I was watching the show to support him, and then I got totally hooked into it, and then I wanted to be on it. You know, it was fantastic.
I mean, that's kind of the dream, right? To be on something that you were watching. I mean,
totally.
That's pretty good. And Oz, it's really the show that put HBO on the map. You know, people forget it was the first one.
Yeah, it was pretty edgy, man. It was pretty edgy and dark. And I think Tom Fontana was taking those storylines straight from the newspapers too. He'd be scouring the papers at, like 4:00 in the morning. It's early internet action. You know what I mean? And picking out the most bizarre headlines and putting them on his prison show.
Are you surprised they haven't remade that?
No, I'm not. I think, and I'm glad they haven't.
Oh, me too.
Because, I think if you look at Oz, you look at the roster of actors that are on that show, it's like every brilliant actor in New York City played completely opposite of everything you understand them to be on Oz. And I think that kind of huge carousel of actors is kind of hard to recreate because Tom Fontana and his writing team gave time to each character to be really specific. And nowadays, I think the way television is cut, there's not a lot of time to draw out more than 2 or 3 characters per show.
I hadn't really thought about that, but you're exactly right. That's why Oz, or part of the reason why Oz, The Wire, shows like that work, because you really gave, even the smaller roles were really well fleshed out. Yeah.
Yes, they were very fleshed out. So it helped to create a world that was easy to slip into when you already are sitting on your couch willing to suspend your disbelief and watch a TV show. It's that much easier to have it populated with real characters all throughout to fill it out and help the storytelling. And one of the things about The Wire, one of the taglines was, it's a chess game and all the pieces matter. So somebody who had 2 lines in the 3rd episode of the 2nd season comes back in the 5th season, in the 4th episode, and ties into those 2 lines they had and winds up being some massive character that has impact on all the main characters you've been following. You know what I mean?
I've always said it's the character development is what I like, but I've never really thought that through. The reason I probably don't some shows is because they don't take the time to develop the characters. The shows that I actually really like are probably the ones that develop them. I've never really made that connection, but it's something that we don't get enough of. That strong. You get 2 or 3 of the main characters, but you don't get the supporting cast.
You don't get the 4 through 17.
That's right.
Even though you see them every week or every other week, you don't know anything more about them except they bring over the evidence bag.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of makes sense with Oz, why they haven't redone that, because I was thinking we haven't really had a lot of inside the prison type of shows, and it seems like somebody would go, oh yeah, well, let's remake that because we don't have anything else on TV like that.
We started doing the reality inside the prison shows, and that kind of took the place of scripted drama.
I guess we had Prison Break for a little while. They were in a prison
we did
but a little bit,
but they got out of prison they broke out
pretty quick. Pretty quick. And they quickly realized the limitations of a show called Prison Break once they got out of the first season.
Once they got out of prison. Exactly.
So you've been on Teen Wolf for a while, or were on Teen Wolf for a while, and then it turned into a movie. I mean, that had to be a great experience because, it wasn't that long ago we weren't watching shows that kind of went through their life cycle and then went to movies
and then had a second life. No, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to be able to see everybody 5-6 years later, and catch up with everybody and have just about every character from the show make an appearance in the movie was pretty cool as well. We were supposed to do like a few of those, but then the pandemic and everything.
That daggone pandemic. 2020. It seemed like 2020 took 3, 4, 5 years to get through
easily,
and then since then we've been going like a year every 6 months.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that.
Feels like we're flying by now. I mean, we're in July basically already.
I know. It's it does feel like it's flying by, and it does feel like it's stretched out for a good, like high school career. You know what I mean? But just being in detention the entire time alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's one of those, I tell the kids all that time, and we had some grandkids that were born in 2020, and that had its own set of problems. But that's something hopefully you'll never have to go through again.
Yeah.
But we're all going to be talking about it probably till we die.
We will, and I still worry for the kids who were in high school during the pandemic and how that affected their.
We won't know for years.
We won't know for years.
And it's going to have an effect.
It absolutely has to. These are formative years of socialization, learning, and being comfortable with yourself. If you try to do everything through a screen from home, you know what I mean?
It's not the same.
You're growing 3 or 4 inches or something like that. To measure against your
I didn't think of that. If you were if you were out of school for 6 months to a year and then went back, it would be a big difference. That's
it would be a huge
year to year. You change so much at that age.
Yeah. So I think I'm sure some studies will be done, but we won't know the effects of that for years. So I feel badly for them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We had 3 of our grandkids were born that year. And we did a lot of visiting through the door type of thing, but they had a little. I mean, they're okay now because we're several years past, but they had that extended period where they weren't used to anybody. They weren't used to anybody holding them, except their parents. Anything.
Yeah,
it took a little while to have that kind of grandparent relationship with them.
Yeah, I'm sure, man, because they've got no examples of it, and they've got it not from before fear set in.
Right. That's it. That's exactly it. Speaking of character development, I was a big fan of City on a Hill.
Oh yeah,
which I thought it didn't get as long a run as I would like. Really good storytelling in that, though.
Yes, very, very good. That's another Tom Fontana thing. It's like flesh out the characters, bring the whole picture.
Oh, you could totally tell he was involved. Once you've seen one of his projects, you can kind of recognize his work.
You can kind of see his work, how it goes. I really enjoyed that, working on that, being a little. The first when I first read for it once for Tom, and he said, so we got you playing another priest, and I said, yeah. And he said, this one's a little different.
Yep.
And I dug that he was, because you get that fear as an actor. I'm going to get typecast. I'm going to play this for the next. And the whole point, to me anyhow, of being an actor is playing as many different characters as possible. Not really 2 or 3 degrees of the same person.
Right.
However profitable that might be, and that's the challenge is to keep it fresh. But he made it very clear that this would be a very different kind of priest, and I enjoyed the kind of sleazy, creepy.
Well, I was going to say, you've played 2 priests who were flawed in different ways. This one was flawed much more in, he's kind of just a bad guy.
Yeah. He's just quick with the quip. He's he's a fast talking dude. He's a snake oil salesman.
My grandfather was a Baptist minister, kind of old school Baptist minister growing up. So
Holy Roller?
What was that?
Holy Roller? Was he,
Holy Roller, kind of close to, not the evangelistic type, but more the fire and brimstone type of preacher.
Yeah. Okay.
And I grew up with that, and I remember him talking about those kind of snake oil type of that would have the revivals and stuff, but it really wasn't about the religion. It was about the money. It was about the money and the ego. That's it.
And
he kind of had a bad viewpoint of those people, just like we do as a whole.
Yeah.
I think those people are still out there. Their form has just changed a little bit.
Yes, it has, and TV has given them access to a lot more people if they're fortunate enough to find that way. But I think it's really just it's a horrible human character flaw to try to take advantage of people's willingness to believe in something bigger than themselves.
Agree. Because that's where a lot of us are vulnerable.
Yes.
Because you're dealing with something that it's all about belief.
Yes.
Once you get into that and somebody accepts you, as part of that, very easy to take advantage, I think.
It is very easy to take advantage, as opposed to empowering, to find strength and unity and commonality, and be able to then do more as as a unit, as a society.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So your other one was, of course, Walking Dead. Gabriel, and we all love Gabriel, and talk about he was flawed, but he was just a very deep, complicated guy.
He was a very complicated character, as I imagine anybody of great faith would be in a zombie apocalypse.
It would test your faith, that's for sure.
It would test your faith. You know what I mean? And also just see what the depraved behavior that people were undertaking has got to be. I thought of it for Father Gabriel as being something that's like having people rip their skin off their face and showing you some other kind of being.
And
the shock of that, what I mean? The shock and the horror of that, and how it leaves you off kilter and trying to figure out, what's going on here, because that's what people kind of did. They just became their most base instinctive survival or bestial selves.
I mean, that's why The Walking Dead is so scary, because if we were in a situation where we had a zombie apocalypse, that's exactly what would happen.
I think that's one of the reasons, you say, you love Father Gabriel. I remember in the beginning, people hated Father Gabriel, and I thought, well, they probably hate him because they see him as weak, and they like to see themselves as Rick or Michonne or Daryl or whoever else. And they don't want to be reminded that they may be weak. But, damn it, pretty much everybody would have told the congregation to go home.
100%. I'm sure you would get some Ricks and some Daryls out there.
Yeah, I'm
sure the majority would not be that way.
Father Gabriel, running for cover, hide.
Yeah.
Self-preservation, fear of contact, and and trust, and all that kind of stuff, man.
That had to be. It'd be difficult to live that. Pretty good character to play, though.
Yeah, it was, and it was fun for me. Sorry, I just shaved my mustache today. I think I didn't get the
sympathies.
I just got the itch going right here. I can't stop itching. No. What was I just saying? Something about Father Gabriel.
Well, about it had to be a fun role to play.
Yes, it was. It was fun, and it was fun also being at that time. It was like season 5. The show was a huge, worldwide hit. At that point, it was the #1 show in the world. So I was playing a character that I thought a lot of people would be like, that a lot of people didn't really want to relate to.
Right.
But it also gave me something different to play from every other actor on the show at that time. And I really enjoyed playing fearful and cowardly and self-preservationist. And untrustworthy and untrustful. I liked playing all those opposite, hero vibes that you got from the other characters. And they kind of turned, Father Gabriel kind of turned and became somewhat of an anti-hero himself. By the time the show wound up. Reluctantly, yes. But I dug playing the cowering priest for a while.
Well, I always took Gabriel as, he was probably a pretty good guy before the apocalypse. Maybe a good pastor, whatever, pretty good priest.
Yeah.
But in his head, he probably would expect himself to react in more of a hero way, but then the reality of it was not that, and then he felt a lot of guilt because of the way he was reacting, but couldn't really change it.
No, that's kind of what I'm glad that's what we got, because that's kind of what I was going for, was like the whole letting yourself down, like thinking you can rise to the occasion. Should something like that happen, I'm sure that I would, you know what I mean? I'd beat up those attackers of that nun, or I'd grab that drowning baby and swim through the length of the lake. You know,
yeah,
and
that's
then
what we all hope that we
that's what you hope, and then it happens, and then you wind up filming the nun being attacked by the muggers, or or calling for help while the baby slowly drowns. That's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a little one of the TikTok videos going around where it's a guy that there's like something being thrown, through the air, and he steps in front of his wife to protect her, and in his head he's like, I'm going to get this. But as this object comes closer to him, and I can't remember what it was, he panics and he steps out of the way, and it hits his wife right in the face. And then she's okay. She's okay. It's more more.
But it's a very human moment.
Yeah. But he panics in that moment, and I was like, that's exactly how most of us would react. You'd think, I'm going to be the hero.
You're going to do it. Yeah,
I'm going to grab this. In the moment, you panic, and you're not.
Yeah. And self-preservation takes over, and
I was like, that poor guy. He's never going to hear the end of that one.
No, he's never going to hear the end of that one. We're going to probably read about him, like, stepping in front of a moving truck to stop her.
Yeah.
From, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he'll probably the next time he'll do it.
Yeah. Next time he'll overdo it and hurt himself.
Were you a fan of the comics, or when you heard about the role in Walking Dead, was that the first time you'd heard about the Walking Dead?
It wasn't the first time I'd heard about it, but I wasn't watching it because I'm not really a horror fan. It's interesting. I don't like to get scared. I don't like to be scared. I don't find the thrill. The thrill.
I'm the same way. I can handle a little scare.
I can handle a little scare,
but not much.
But not an hour straight. You know what I mean?
Well, that show never lets up.
No, it's relentless.
It's
relentless.
It's for me. I could not binge watch that show because I need a week in between episodes to recover.
Yeah, I binge watched because I didn't watch it, and then I got the call for it. I binge watched the first 4 seasons on a Saturday.
Yeah.
On I think it was Netflix, maybe. I was gonna watch the pilot, and just to get the sense of the tone of it. Because I was like, I don't know,
Got sucked in.
And I got sucked in, man, and wound up watching 4 straight seasons. And afterwards, I'm looking for people to hit. I'm looking for somebody who's like, do something wrong.
You have to decompress.
You have to decompress. I'm like, do something wrong. Somebody, please. Somebody do something wrong. Justice is here.
I always tell people, because I used to own comic stores. So I've read the comic, and I'll tell them, the show's bad. The comic's worse. I mean, it's more violent.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
It's just done in black and white, thank goodness, because that makes it easier to stand.
Yeah. I can imagine how much further you could go in that medium. Yeah.
I mean, whoo. Oh, I should have mentioned Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
You were Sugar. Blood Sugar.
Sugar Watkins. Sugar for the bugs.
I mean, that movie should not work. But it so does.
Yes.
It's such a cult classic.
Yes, it really is. I was surprised that it's had the legs that it had. I remember it got terrible reviews when it came out. I just hated it. But I think that at the time, the media, the Hollywood media, anyhow, wasn't too big on Paul Verhoeven, because he had just done Showgirls, which they felt was just hard. And it's not the greatest of movies, Showgirls, but Starship Troopers had a lot of great charm and a lot of stuff that a lot of other movies have since borrowed scenes and ideas from ever since, and it holds up because it kind of works in that kind of cartoon Saturday afternoon.
It does, and it's very quotable, which I think
popcorn movie watching. Yes, it does have lots of quotes.
It is a good popcorn movie. But it's got a lot of quotes. Like my favorite, I'm a big Western fan. My favorite one's Tombstone, and it's just because there's so many quotes out of that you can call.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you. That's my favorite from Tombstone.
Oh, that's a terrific one. Yeah. I mean, Kilmer in that, unbelievable.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
And people forget too, at the same time that one came out, Kevin Costner did one called Wide Earth.
White Earp, that was
Quaid
3.5 hours long.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid was a great Doc
fantastic.
Holliday.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the only problem with the difference in the hit status is that Wyatt Earp was like 3.5 hours long.
It was long.
You know,
it was
and
a commitment.
Tombstone was 2 hours. It was a commitment. You know, and it's like, really, do you want your Western heroes to have heart, or do you just want them to be fast on the draw?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why I always liked Unforgiven, because they had they had the saloon shootout and everybody was missing because they were so nervous. And
because that's what it would be.
Yeah, you wouldn't have these sharpshooters and quick shooters.
No,
you just have people that are dropping their gun and stumbling around
and fumbling and stumbling and shooting themselves in the foot. Gun jams, throwing it, and trying to unjam it.
I mean, that's that's not terrible.
No,
is
Starship Troopers is a lot of fun.
You've had this this great career, and you're still in so many things. Is there a genre you haven't done that you'd like to do?
Well, just speaking of westerns, I would like to do a western. I thought that I would have a better relationship to horses when we were doing The Walking Dead, and then I found that I was terrified of them. Yeah. I was just terrified. They're massive, man. They're massive.
Isn't that the thing that every actor lies about on their resume, is that they
totally horse riding? Yeah. It's like, you try it. Just try it.
Oh, they're so big.
This is not the petting zoo. These things are massive and they're passive, which makes me feel like, well, what happens if they snap? Right. And they're like, oh, don't wear. I like to wear body sprays and clothes and that kind of thing. I like to, I'm a metrosexual frilly man. I like to smell good.
That's right.
So so they're saying, you can't wear any colognes or body sprays around the horses because that'll turn them off, or it could, fright them in some way. If the smell is akin to something in nature, that, you know what I mean, we're trying to approximate in some body spray, you know what I mean? And they could turn and kick you. And I was thinking, I could get kicked to death because I like axe. Yeah. And that was, and it terrified me. But I would like to give it another shot. I'd like to give it another shot because once I was on the horse, I felt very comfortable and at peace. It was just a matter of bonding with the horse at first.
Right. Well, you're not used to it.
Mounting the horse. Then I'm a city kid, and it was, I had the petting zoo. That's it, with the sheep that they made look like a pony. Right. Everybody knew it was a sheep.
Did you see the Chinese zoo that painted up the dogs to look like pandas?
No,
I'll admit they did a pretty good job with it, but it's supposed to look like baby pandas. Yeah, pretty funny.
Okay, I could see it. Yeah, good stuff.
My wife talks about when she was 8 or 9 years old, she got too close to the back of a horse and got kicked. And yeah. And she's fine now, of course, but it sent her flying.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's not what you want. Stay away from the back.
No, stay away from the back end. And if you're gonna fall, try to go off to the side.
Yeah, you don't want to get trampled.
You don't want to get trampled.
Yeah, they're so heavy and big. I've always, I grew up reading Black Stallion books. I always, always kind of enjoyed the horse racing type of stuff. But it's scary.
It is scary. They're huge, man, and they're like, some of the most powerful creatures on the planet. And somehow we've managed to, to tame them to our use. But if I don't know, if one of them gets an idea and spreads it.
I was going to say, I'm surprised nobody's made a horror movie with a horse.
The horse, yeah.
If anybody steals that, please give us a special thanks. If somebody wants an idea, they can have it. But give us a little credit.
Yeah, exactly. Stallion,
Would you accept a role as the hero in a movie where the villain was a horse?
As long as I don't have to kill it in the end, because that would be too much.
Oh, that'd be hard. Well, maybe at some point you convince him to redeem himself.
Yes, maybe I could. Yeah, I like that. We'd go a little sci-fi with it.
He's evil, but he hasn't. He's not so far gone evilly that
Yes.
can't be redeemed. You know, he hasn't committed any heinous acts yet.
No, he's just traumatized from bad treatment, and he's acting out
He's misunderstood.
He's misunderstood, and that's how we bond in the end. Yes.
I mean, I guess they Whedon did that, the Dr. Horrible, where the main film was a horse.
Yes.
That's as close as they've come, I think.
Yeah. Well, we can humanize the horse. We'll get the voiceover of the horse's thoughts.
I mean, we've had some animated horse movies, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
There are other things that we can turn into horror creatures. How about flying turtles?
Ooh. With I'd be afraid of flying turtles.
Because snapping turtles, man, to take a finger off, right? And the only thing that you feel good about is that you can get away from them.
Yeah, they're slow.
What if they're airborne, dude, and come and dive bombing you?
I would think that they would fly similar to like stink bugs. So they look a little like off balance while
they look a little cumbersome and a little cumbersome. Looks like we're not supposed to be in the air.
Yeah, because stink bugs. They randomly run into stuff.
Yeah, they do. They're just like little mini bug blimps. The one runner goes off and they just start spin it off.
That's our turtles, I think.
Yeah,
you could fight them by just throwing them a little off kilter while they're flying.
Just create lots of waves.
I mean, you got Mario Brothers has some flying tortoises.
Mario Brothers got some flying stuff going on there that you hammer and fly in the back of. Yeah.
We're on to something. I don't know what, but we're on to something.
I'm not sure. We might have to be tested. We're on to something.
This feels like the type of idea that might come out when you're under quarantine, for an extended period of time.
Yes. Right before madness sets in. Yes, just
we must do this horse movie.
Just get the horse movie, followed by the flying snapping turtles.
Shoot. Well, Seth, thank you for taking a little bit of time. I was so excited to talk with you. I think you're such a talented actor, and like I said, I feel like I've watched you most of my life. We're about the same age, so
We're probably about the same age. Yeah, you might have. Yeah,
I forgot about the Cosby Show. Yeah, you were on several episodes of that.
Yeah. I was on right before it got canceled. I think it and then The Simpsons took over as the number one show in the country from the Cosby Show. That's how old I am. Yeah.
You were at the beginning. Like, do you remember the Simpsons on Tracy Ullman? That's where they started.
Yes, that's right. When they were just a skit.
They were a skit.
You know what I was always waiting for that never became a full show was the Ren and Stimpy show. No, the Itchy and Scratchy show.
Oh yeah,
right?
Itchy and
show
Scratchy
on The Simpsons. Yeah, I always wanted to see a full Itchy and Scratchy.
I think we all did.
Bizarro Land. Yeah,
we all wanted to see it. I'm really surprised that they didn't do like a Adult Swim version of that.
Yeah, because it was great, man. They were just. It was kind of cutting off the cat's head.
Well, it was like a violent Tom and Jerry.
It was a insanely violent Tom and Jerry. It was a little closer to home because of the way they were drawn too.
Yeah.
I'd
probably watch that.
I'd watch it too.
I can handle the cartoon violence, I think.
Give me cartoon characters ripping each other's heads off, fine. But give me a Saw movie and
no, I'll pass.
No, I'll pass.
Although there was movies, that were horror movies back in the 80s that I couldn't watch back then. I can watch those now. There's a difference in like 80s horror and today horror, I think.
I think so. Well, in 80s horror, you're probably getting maybe 3-4 kills a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, now and the gore is not as bad. Like it just doesn't seem as bad. Of course, you're not watching it in 20K or whatever we're watching.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a lot more about the dread, the anticipation of scares than now it's just violent now. Scary.
Now it's we can do it, we can imagine, so let's do it. Whereas
That's right.
then it was like, let's let your imagination do half the work.
Yeah, and I thought that part I kind of liked.
Me too.
Now that the technology's caught up where they can actually show it to me, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want any part of that. Too much. That's too much.
I'd like to see you in like a sitcom. Maybe we could bring one back for you.
You know what? I could do a sitcom about a man who owns a horse and
maybe it's you could be on a ranch and you're like a fish out of water. You have to develop this ranch, but you know nothing. You're a city guy. We haven't done that since like City Slickers.
Yeah, Green Acres. Green Acres had the
cool.
I could play it. Oh, it wasn't Charo. Who was the
it was Zsa
Zsa Gabor. That's right. Zsa Gabor. I could be the Zsa Gabor character, except we flip it.
Oh, we flip it.
You
marry a rich woman.
I marry a rich woman who has some massive ranch. She's like runs, a milk.
But you're the champagne taste.
Yes, exactly.
I watch.
I like it. Yeah.
There you go. I'm trying to remake other stuff. Green Acres is the one we should remake.
Green Acres is, yes. There's lots of fish out of water scenarios in that.
I was in L.A. for that Netflix is a joke, festival they put on out there.
Yes.
And I went and saw Chris Rock, and he was doing a table read for When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he had a whole cast. Harry Met Sally? He was playing Harry, but I think the plan is to remake that movie, and he was kind of testing it out. See how it do. Yeah.
All right.
It's Tracy Aaron Ross was playing
Tracy Ellis. Yeah. Tracy Ellis Ross. She was terrific in American Fiction.
Oh, unbelievable!
I wanted more of her. I don't know. I wanted more of her characters. Like, she's dead.
I know, it was too quick. I know, she was terrific. Yeah, but anyway, there's a movie I never thought that they would remake. Yeah. And then I watched it and I was like, yeah, I'd probably watch that.
Really? Because all I can think about is like two scenes from it: the fake orgasm scene, and then another scene they were in Central Park somewhere. And I think
that was it. Like, it's been so long since I watched it.
I'll have to go back.
I didn't really know, but then when I'm watching and read it, I could remember some of it.
Yeah. I'll have to go back. Oh, I hope that works out for them.
I do too.
Because I enjoyed that when I first saw it. Yeah.
I was like, that's a decent idea. And he's kind of hedging his bet. He's going to test it out first. I thought that's smart.
No, that's the way to do it. Yeah. See if the audience is receptive to it.
Yeah. Well, the audience I was in, very receptive. So,
excellent.
Maybe you'll see it someday. I don't know. Well, Seth, thank you so much. Couple little things before I let you go. Anything that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
No, not at the moment. I got a couple of films that are supposed to be coming out later this summer and then this October. One film is called The Lady of the Lake.
Oh, yeah, I meant to ask you about that one.
Ronkonkoma.
Yeah.
That's coming out. I think we're going to have a screening of that in July, and it's supposed to be coming out.
I mean, does it have a connection with, the Arthur stuff, or is this just a coincidental title?
With the legend of the Lady of the Lake Ronkonkoma?
Yeah, like in the King Arthur stories, is it connected?
Oh, yes. No, it doesn't. This is about there's a lake in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. Yeah. That has this folklore, this history of young teenage boys drowning in it once a year, and they say it's because it's the spirit of this Indian princess who was banned from her love or whatever, and he wound up drowning in the lake. So now she drowns a kid every summer. Oh, so it's a movie that's.
Are you playing the lady in the lake?
That would be Oscar worthy, but on.
No, that sounds really good. Yeah, is that a movie, or is that going to be like a series?
That's a movie. We're gonna host a series of screenings of it in the theaters, but I think it may have been sold to a streaming platform. I'm not sure which one.
That's exciting.
And another film I did is a comedy called The Zombie Wedding that's coming out in October.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
First ever wedding between a human being and a zombie.
What's your role in that one?
Oh, I'm the priest.
Of course.
Of course.
you let them know that you only play flawed priests.
Yes, I only play flaw. I wish I had a picture of this priest. You can see the flaws right on the screen.
Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Last thing, Seth, is where can we find you on social media?
I have a Facebook fan page under my name. I'm not on any other social media. I don't
How do
really
you avoid that? It's just everywhere. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, I just have the Facebook thing, and I have an administrator, and we go back and forth. And between the two of us, we can pretty much cover I maybe have maybe 2,000 followers or something like that, or subscribers or fans on the page, so I can have more of an intimate experience with them. I take pictures at conventions and have you, and they send the pictures into the page, and then I post the pictures on the page.
Oh, it's great.
We read the DMs. I have time to actually split up the DMs with my administrator. She comes up with memes. I come up.
You got to have a good person running it, because that's because it's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job, and I found I had at one point I had Twitter and Instagram, my personal page and my fan page, and I wasn't getting any work done, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it is
getting any work done. It took all of my time. It took all of my energy to maintain this, the kind of contact that I like to have with my fan base.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it, so I just shut the other ones down. And there are people claiming to be me all across social media, and
of course,
that
gets frustrating and tiring.
It gets frustrating. I think why would you want to be somebody else when you have one life to live? I'm going to pretend to be somebody else. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Life. Come on.
Do you ever make it down to the camp that they do down in Georgia?
I went this past camp, to the third one there. Yeah. It was a great time. It was a great experience.
We've had I think that's Oscar that puts the camp on. We've had him on the
show.
Yeah. Did you did you happen to meet Mark from the Dead Cards?
Yes. Yeah. I did.
Yeah. Mark's a good friend of mine, and he, we worked together in a call center. He was the IT guy. I was running the call center, and the fact that he came up with an idea like the Dead Cards, I'm just thrilled to death for him, and he's doing well with it.
Yeah, he is doing well. He's showing like 3 different iterations of Father Gabriel Dead Cards that are very cool. I've gotten some over the years from him. Yeah, I like the camp a lot. I like what they do. It's sort of like my Facebook fan page. It's small enough to be intimate enough to have a one-on-one experience with people, and not just feel surrounded by people you'll never know the names of.
That's right. That's right. And I think that was the whole point of it, more of an intimate experience. Yeah. Well, thank you, Seth. And hopefully,
thank you.
At some point, I get to see you at a show, or we'll have you at some point.
Man.
You get that great horse movie, you come see me.
Exactly.
All right, hold on 1 second, Seth. Guys, Seth Gilliam. Oh my gosh. So excited to talk to him. He's I kept mentioning he's about my age. He's literally a year older than me. His birthday's near the beginning of November. Mine's near the end of October. I was born in 1969. He was born in 1968. So pretty good connection, but it has allowed me seriously to watch his career the entire time. He was terrific on Oz. If you haven't seen Oz, I know it doesn't get talked about much anymore because it's been, 40 years ago since it was out. It's excellent and actually holds up pretty well. So if you need a good show, check out Oz. He was Clayton Hughes on a ton of those. This was terrific. I think we touched on everything that I wanted to talk with Seth. He's been on a ton of shows. He's been on Bull, Elementary, The Good Wife, Criminal Minds, Homeland, Law and Order, Nurse Jackie. He was on, just to name a few, but I think I hit most of the big ones that I wanted to talk about. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you're a fan of The Wire, we have had several of that cast on. Trey Cheney, Chad Coleman, a few others. So check those out if you would like. If you're a Walking Dead fan, we've probably got 15 to 20 episodes of Walking Dead content. We have had the best luck with having cast members come on the show. We've got a Walking Dead playlist. Check that out if you're a fan. I think you'll really enjoy that. Make sure you check out the one with the actual zombies. You know, we call it our savior panel. Savior panel. If I could talk right, you might get it, but it's terrific. So make sure you check that out. If you're finding us for the first time, we're so happy that you're here, and thank you so much. There's a couple easy ways that you can support us. They're both free. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. It's free. Those subscriptions really help us out. Our website is meistercon.com. You can find almost 800 episodes, audio and video. When Seth's episode comes out, it may be our 800th episode. It's going to be right around there. Make sure that you check out our website, meistercon.com. It'll also let you know if we're going to a convention, if we're covering or if we're working on location, if we're doing something in studio, anything we have going on, be on the website, meistercon.com. I'm so excited. I keep losing track of what I'm going to say. Just terrible interviewer. Thank goodness I've got such great guests that come on this show. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.